Welcome everyone. Hey, it's Annette Green here. You see two planners here because I am working in my second of two planners for 2023. I've been documenting every week of my year of 2023, and I have saved every single video in a special playlist that I will have linked below. But we are working in this one because the first one got very full, and last week we left off with the ugly Christmas sweaters. If you missed it, you got to go check it out. Paul's is pretty funny. That is my husband. So we are working here for week 51. We have one more week to go. Oh my goodness. And I have to say, if it weren't for you and your encouragement and dedication and subscription, I don't know how easy this would have been to keep up with. You know, I have been very motivated to keep up because of you. You're relying on me. You're watching every, Sunday night or Monday morning, depending on where you are, when I post each video. And I appreciate that. And that's really kept me going, because there have been some weeks where I haven't done a whole lot or haven't really felt like it. And I said, well, I have to. You guys are waiting for me. So I do appreciate that. And that's something to remember. If you were thinking about doing a weekly and you were worried, like, can I keep it up? Can I do it? The biggest thing I would tell you is make yourself accountable to somebody. Like, I'm accountable to you guys. That's great for me, but not everybody's a YouTuber, right? Get a friend, have them do it too. You guys share your photos of your pages every week. Try to make a challenge for each other. It's just an idea. Okay, so it is Christmas Eve today. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates that. And I don't know about you, but the holidays for us, well, really all the time for us, is about food. We love food. And I do love to cook. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that in this whole year, but I do really love to cook, and I love to try new recipes. And so this week's going to be all about things I've made. We went out to dinner one time, so I will share that, but it's going to be about all the things I made this week for dinner. Not that anything else, nothing else was going on, because we were busy, but I thought, well, it might be kind of interesting to see what kind of page I can create with a bunch of photos of food. So that's what we're going to do. See me, I'm using my little Fiskars with the wire in it with a brand new blade. The reason why I say it like that is because last week, in the middle of the week, I did post a video about what paper trimmer is best for you, and I featured about 5 different ones that I own, pluses and minuses, uses for each and such. And, I just really found, as much as I like my brand new Spellbinders one, especially for card making, I still like my Fiskars trimmer, both the big one and this one, because of that wire when you're cutting out a bunch of photos, just like I'm doing right now. I'm just shaving off a little bit of white here at the top. And just in case you're joining me for the very first time and you're wondering what kind of printer do I use to print all those little photos, it's a Canon Pixma TR8620. It is an inkjet printer, which works great for photos, in my opinion. And I just use like quality glossy photo paper, like HP Advanced Photo Paper. And that's what I've used all year, pretty much. On occasion, I've pulled out my little Canon Selfie for this planner. Usually I reserve that for my little December day by day, which, if you haven't been watching me on Instagram, I've been doing little quick reels on each page as I build them. So that's been kind of fun too. Recently bought myself a Christmas present for my business, and that is a color laser printer. So I'm very excited about that. I'll tell you a little secret if you are a devoted watcher and follower here. I'm designing my own paper collection for Elizabeth Craft Designs this year. I haven't told anybody that except close friends, and it's pretty exciting. It's kept me pretty busy, and the laser printer has been a big help in trying to match color and all that good stuff. So, okay, I'm just talking and I laid those out like that, and I really kind of like it. Isn't that funny? So the only other thing I have to do here, I had big plans, but I don't know if they're going to work out. I definitely have to have my number 51 like I've been using the Planner Essentials 37 Stitched Letters and Numbers die. So I got my 51 here. I have to decide on a photo mat color, and I'm going to say it's probably just going to be maybe a dark green, because so much red here and orange. And opposing that on the color wheel is green. So, and I do see a little bit of green with the spinach and the salad and the asparagus and the peas. And I'm going to talk about all these things I made, so don't worry. But I think green might be a nice color. And then I just need to decide, do they each need their own photo mat, or do I want to put one around this big chunk? So things to think about. So I've got my 51. And the big idea that I had initially, I was hoping it would work. This is David's, David Rudenberg's stamp set with his new special, the ATC Special Kit. And I haven't really used it. I've talked about it, but it has these really sweet little labels, and I'm pretty sure his die that goes with this has a die for that. And I was wanting to put like a little label by each of these things, what they are. But clearly I don't have room to do that with this particular label for everyone, and I think it would be more interesting to mix it up anyway. So I'm going to use that on the two big photos, and then I'll use something smaller on these little guys. And then, you know, just very little room for journaling, but I don't think a lot needs to be said, except I love to cook, and this is what we ate. And just in case you don't believe me, here's my grocery list. I just pull it out of the trash because the week is over and we've made all these foods. I make my grocery list every Sunday. I plan out all the meals. I write down the meals, and then I go shopping. And then that way we don't have any excess, or, you know, and we have a plan. I can just look and say, all right, which one of these do I want to make today? I don't really assign a day for each. I just say, this is what we're going to make. And then each morning when I wake up, I say, what do I feel like making? So yeah, chicken schnitzel with salad right there. Spinach, mushroom, and cheese quiche, crustless quiche. Lobster chowder and crusty bread. And then this is what I'm going to make today. So I grabbed this picture off of the internet. That's, I got a new air fryer. Oof. Air fried salmon and sweet potato wedges. And then last night we had this here. That's risi abisi. If you've ever heard of that, it's sort of a peas and onions and risotto kind of situation. And then I air fried some cauliflower, and we used our new Ninja air fryer combo thing to grill some ribeye steaks. Really, really good. And then this was going out to eat, so I'll talk about that later. And even though I like to cook a lot, I don't cook quite this fancy on a regular basis. Close, you know, but not quite, like lobster and ribeye. That's kind of special occasion kind of stuff. But I do a lot of vegetarian kind of cooking, chicken, fish, that type of thing. Okay, I just grabbed this stamp set, and it's from Esther, and I don't have a name for it, so I will look it up, and I will definitely link it below. But I'm thinking this is a good alternative for some of those smaller photos to make a little, like a labeling thing for them. So I will use that, and I need to hunt down some green cardstock for that photo mat idea. Got some perfect green cardstock here. And I think what I want to do, I really like the idea of making a collage on here and not, you know, an individual photo mat for each one. So can I do it? I'm thinking I'm just going to start adhering these down in the same sort of configuration that I had. Even if it's a little different, it's okay, as long as it fits left and right. And how did I know what size to make the photos? I just kind of guessed. Now, here's a thought. These aren't going to be in any particular order if I start doing it this way. Like, this is today's meal. Does it matter? No. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be in order. I don't think. I hope you agree. All right, how did I have this? Up here? See, now I can't remember. Well, let's just find out. So this had to overlap a little, so this must have come down here. Okay, well that's, you get the idea. I'm going to piece this together and get these all down, and we will have overlap of just these two photos, which actually works out pretty great because of that wide white space there. So that's going to go there. Okay, let me go get to it. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to use this little guy. I bought this not too long ago. It's a tiny little T-square, And it's very similar to the one you might see Jennifer McGuire using quite a bit. Different brand, same idea. It just helps you kind of square things up, because, you know, once you're off, you're really off. Does that fit? Just barely. Okay, well, I can always shave a little. I think I will. I'm going to shave a little bit off of this one. So that's good. We can always do that. That works. While I'm gluing down this picture of the lobster chowder, or lobster chowder, depending on where you're from, I will tell you a funny story. It wasn't so funny at the time, but it's kind of funny now. I was making that because little mini lobster tails are on sale at Publix, my local supermarket, and we bought a couple, and I made that chowder. But, you know, you got to make your own. You don't have to, but I did. Made my own seafood stock by, you know, pre-cooking. You pre-cook the lobster and then you cook the shells to make the stock. Well, I forgot to dump all the salty water out before I did the stock. And so I finished cooking the entire thing. We put it in our bowls to eat it, and we almost gagged. It was so salty. I thought for sure we had ruined it. I even did a little page in my December day by day. Near disaster. But we saved it. It was fine. We had to wash off all the broth and start over with the broth part. So it worked out, but it was sure scary there for a bit. Okay, so how am I going to do this? I'm going to grab my cutting mat and a ruler and a blade. I could do it on the paper trimmer, but I got these weird little, you know, cuts like this here. So I've got to work around those things. And it looks like over here when I look, it's not quite an eighth. Somewhere between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch. So that's what I will do. Even though that looks quite a bit. Wow, I need a new blade. Hold on. I do love this Cricut craft knife. If you don't have one, so it's so easy to change. See the little pushy thing? Pop. This is where I put all the spent blades. So I haven't taken care of those in a while. And that's just until I can dispose of them properly in the trash. And then you have your blade refills here, and you pop this on here, hit that little button to suck it on there, and there you go. So now I have a nice sharp blade. I have to be a little careful. But I am going to come in a little closer, so that worked out kind of well. I felt like that was a little too far away. And you know how new blades are. You have to be careful because they could snap so easy. That tip is so sharp and fine. So I'll go around and do this to everything, and then I'll be back. Okay, that's how that turned out. I like that. I'm just going to grab some green ink here because this is white, I think. Let's see. Is this white core? Gosh, now I can't. No, it's not. I don't need to ink the edge, but I'm gonna. Why? I don't know. Just to maybe give it a little darker edge. This is not necessary unless you have a white core cardstock. And I could easily look right here. It's not. But I'm already in, so we're gonna go. Got a little shaving there. Okay, I think this is pretty cool. I have not done this before quite this way, so that's a little different. It's amazing how I could come up with anything different at this point after 51 weeks, but somehow I did. Looks like I might put it right to the edge of the page. That's okay, right? Because, let's see, do I have hole reinforcements? I do have them on this side, so I don't really have to have them on this side, but I always like them because they look pretty. Not necessary, but more aesthetic, I think. Okay, well, I'll make that decision in a bit. I still have to make sure I have room for 51. And where did I put it on this one? I put it at the top of that one, so maybe I'll put it at the bottom of this one. Not that they're facing, but just 'cause. And I might have a little, I don't know. Maybe I'll just say something up here about all the food. Why food? Okay, so I've got a little strip of paper here, a little cardstock, and Devid's stamp. And I did find the die set. Not that I had to go very far, but I had it. This is a big die set for this special. It's got a bunch of stuff on it. And there's the little label die for that label stamp. So get that stamped out a couple times. I think I will use, should I use green again for stamping? I don't know. Might be too much green. We do have this to separate a little bit. All right, let me think about that too. Yeah, I think that's pretty. That's going to be real pretty. Too much green? Well, let's cut it out and let's make that decision then. Okay, I'm going to grab the Empress Mini. By the way, the green I used is VersaFine Claire Shady Lane. Pretty, pretty. And I did 3, only needed 2, but just in case. And I do like to stamp before I die cut when we have a, you know, matching deal like this. Just because I feel like you can really line up just perfectly. There's some cases where I cut it first. Definitely if I'm going to use the Misty stamp platform. You know, I was a little concerned at first that this looked like it was so much bigger. I was going to leave this huge halo, but look at that. Wow, that's like less than a 1/16 of an inch. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, well, before I cut another one, let's just see. Help me decide. And does this bother you? I'm just curious. Does this bother anybody? My eye went right to it just a moment ago. There's no green here. So that might be where we have to put a little label, because that kind of bothers me a little tiny bit. Silly little detail. Wow, that could go right there. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the green. You guys like the green? I think I like it. I mean, we could try another color, but what would it be, really? I mean, it could be like a deep orange like the rest of those, but let's try it. Got this really pretty cinnamon color. And I also have paprika. These are from Close to My Heart. I love their inks. They're just water-based inks, but they're pretty darn great. So let me just try one out here. Just very curious. I hope I got all the green off of there. We'll see. It almost looks brown, but as it dries, I know it will change a little bit. I think I'm going to try that other color just to see. Bear with me as I experiment. I do need to clean that off. That's just my scrubber from Close to My Heart as well. I've had it forever. Okay, I think that's going to be better, a better match anyway. So I'll cut one of those out and we'll compare with the green. So cinnamon is too dark. Paprika is pretty sweet. Okay. I really wish you guys could yell it out. Let's see. That definitely stands out from the green. But I kind of like the feel of it all being green. Now, what I could do is I could do the bigger ones in green and do the smaller ones in that paprika color. We could see how that looks. I already feel like, now that I've looked at it, I feel like that one stamp that I showed you, the label one of Esther's here, I feel like that's going to be too big. Yeah, and I went and I looked to see, did I have anything smaller that was stamped, and I don't. So I grabbed this little die, this postage stamp page die, which I used a couple weeks ago. And we've got all these little guys in here. I mean, I could just cut a little square. I don't need a die for it, but perhaps just the size is pretty handy. So I just need to make a decision, don't I? This is a pretty good size, but I do like the idea of it being stamped so we can see that other color. So I'll figure something out. Okay, I'm kind of just really wanting to make this work because I like the idea of something stamped rather than just cut out, and I like this color combination with the page. So while I'm cutting these out, I will go back to the whole I'm designing paper thing. I am also designing another round of stamps and dies for Elizabeth Craft Designs. So it's a big release this time. I don't know if it's going to be all released at the same time. I don't know exactly when. I'm just trying to get it done really close to the new year so it can get into production and get going. So we do have to think about when Chinese New Year falls and all that stuff for having the dies produced and shipped. But paper takes a lot longer, so that was designed first. And of course, I cannot show you anything, but I hope you like it when it comes out. Okay, I've got my little labels. Let's just take a look, see how we're going to get this to fit. Because I'm already thinking I'm going to have to cut these, which I don't mind. Like cut them in half even. Maybe I didn't need this many. Where did I say the 51 was going to go? Down here. I need to cut that out too. I cut my 51 out of that similar color. Happen to have cardstock that's very close to that. So just to keep them together as a unit, as I'm making a plan for my layout here, I'm just going to use a little, this is just Post-it tape, you know, like Post-it notes. And I cut it down the middle so I don't need a big chunk of it. You know, and then I can kind of move it around as a unit instead of fiddling with the 1 and the 5 constantly. So I'm thinking that's going to go there. Looks good. And Post-it tape is great because you can just lift it right back up. Okay, so yeah, gonna have to cut some of these. I'm gonna have to go over the holes maybe. This is gonna go over here. This is gonna come down here. This guy, I don't know, maybe I'll point up there to one and point down there to the other. That might work. That might work. I'm liking that. Has a little flow to it. Okay, let me work with that. Okay, I've made a few decisions here, and one is I'm not going to put this whole unit right to the edge of the page. I am going to float it just 1/8 of an inch from the top and the left, like so. And I forgot about this dish when I was doing my whole plan here, so I did add that. And you can see that I have cut off my little labels here. Hopefully you can see that. So that's been cut off, that's been cut off. I'm trying to decide if I want to ink edges. I don't think so. I think it looks nice and clean. I do want to say a little bit more here, but I think I've got my plan. And I don't think I'm going to ink any edges. I mean, I'm not going to do any hole reinforcements. I am going to ink the edge of the page. That will help. But I think we're kind of getting there. Okay, I think I've got it. I did make a change in my decision. I grabbed this stamp that says wonderful. That's also from Devid's set over there. And I also die cut this flourish from my Fancy Flourishes die set. So I'll link everything below. But yeah, the word wonderful was on here because I was thinking, you know, oh, foodies, something like that. But I think I'm just going to say wonderful, like, you know, it's a wonderful week of food. So I'm going to try to stamp that right on the page, which is always a little tricky. I've got a eyelet back here and I've got some twine. So my best advice would be to use your stamping platform if you have one. This will be a little tricky. It's bumpy, but there's a pad in my MISTI that allows it to have a little bit of give. And you know, worst comes to worst, if this doesn't work out, then you just stamp it on a strip and cover it right up. Oops, did you see it jump? Hold on a second. Yeah, because it's teetering on that eyelet, I think it jumped again. Let's check it. You know what? Good enough for me. Okay, black. Do this together. A little scary. I just inked it with black. I'm not mashing too hard. Okay. I mean, it's tiny, tiny bit crooked, and it's grungy, so, you know, that's how it's supposed to look. So I'm happy. You good? You like it? I do. So the thought here is to put this here, but I don't want to cover up the words on this this particular label. So I'm just going to give this a little shaky trim straight across. So it's going to look like it's kind of going under there. If I had thought ahead, I would have put this down first, but it was an afterthought, so that's how you fix that. So I need to tediously glue the back of this, get my 51 on there, and we will be done. Okay, I think we're done. Just letting that dry a bit. Let's get it in our planner. And so next week is the last week. It's going to be a special week. I'm going to have a little bit of recap stuff. I'm going to have some special shout outs for you guys. There might be a little something something like a giveaway at the end. And then I will absolutely address what I'm going to do for 2024 as far as, am I going to do a weekly? How's that going to look with everything else I have going on? So that'll be an important one to watch for. Meanwhile, we are done. 51 is over. Tomorrow is Christmas Day here. And so I wish you guys a very, very Merry Christmas and a special holiday week into the new year. And I will see you next week for sure. Take care, everybody. I never talked about that food. If you care, I'm going to talk about it. That is firefish from a restaurant called Chickara Alley. It was a heaping pile of yumminess. There was plantains in there. It all had like a pineapple kind of mango-y tropical feel to it. There was different kinds of fish. There was a crab cake on top. Oh, it was amazing.